Craig Kinzer sitting on the pole, setting the pace down the back straightaway. Danny Smith outside, row 1. Colin Northway, Kevin Fry in row number 2, getting set to go to the green flag. Tonight, your starter from Otley, Iowa, Larry DeCrife takes a look to the white line. Green flag is out. The top 4 cars will transfer on to tonight's feature event. Colin Northway to the inside now. Kevin Fry down the back straightaway. Your race for 3rd. Northway rockets by on the inside, takes over the 3rd spot. Meanwhile, your leader off turn 4, Craig Kinzer. Danny Smith running in that 2nd spot. Colin Northway running 3rd. Kevin Fry 4th now. Gary Wright on the move down the back straightaway. The Panel Motorsports, car number 9, trying to make his way into tonight's feature event. Gary Wright still riding 1 spot out of feature transfer. Oh, now Gary Wright with more of that Knoxville luck. Off the throttle, down the front chute, and takes the car number 9 to the infield. Craig Kinzer, Danny Smith, Colin Northway, Kevin Fry, Bobby Meitzer, Mike Moore, Meyer, Foken, Rockhold, and Hildreth. Down the back straightaway is where the battle is. Manny Rockhold moves by Scott Foken going into turn 3. Rockhold up on the high side of the racetrack. Scott Foken running the low groove, the car number 1F down the front straightaway. The 1FX of Scott Foken. Craig Kinzer is on the move down the back straightaway, takes the Franklin Power Products, car number 11K to the high side of turn 3. Lap traffic ahead already in this first Mopar Heat Race event. We've got a battle up in the front now. Manny Rockhold moving around Troy Meyer down the back chute for position. Now Rockhold takes a look at Mike Moore as well. Up on the high side, side by side. They race off turn 4. Down the front chute, the position goes to Rockhold. Manny Rockhold up into the 6th spot as the white flag's out. 1 to go. Craig Kinzer leading down the back chute for the final time as they race down the back straightaway. Your field working through the turns. Checkered flag away. This time by your winner from Bloomington, Indiana, Craig Kinzer. Danny Smith comes home 2nd. Northway coming home in the 3rd spot.
Robert Bell making it back onto the speedway minus the nose wing. They race out of turn number 4 and down to the green flag. John Cernette jumps out to the early lead. Look at Leonard Lee try to make the big move on the bottom side while Larry Ball powers around the high side to take command. Larry Ball leads at John Cernette 2nd, Tim Kading 3rd, and Don Trout Jr. up to the final transfer spot. Now Trout making tracks on the bottom side of the speedway, pulls even with Kading in the race for 3rd. Trout makes the pass of the Right 1 Construction car number 35W to move up into the 3rd spot as Larry Ball continues to put some distance between himself and 2nd place running John Cernette. Randy Martin running 5th, 1 spot out of a transfer. Leonard Lee is 6th, Ralph Spithaler 7th. 8th spot belongs to Jeff Johnson, Kurt Trainer 9th, and Robert Bell in 10th. Trout now digging into the bottom of the speedway, reeling in the Progressive Technologies 91 of John Cernette. Cernette up on the cushion. Trout continues to hug the low side of the speedway. Can't make the pass of Cernette in 1 and 2. Cernette puts 3 car lengths on him down the backstretch. And again, Trout down low in 3 and 4, searching for the moisture on the low side of the speedway. Cushion not very far up the track right now, however, and that allows Cernette to keep the momentum up and stay in front of the TK Concrete 55. Caution on the speedway car slowing in turn number 3. Caution flag flies for Ralph Spithaler in the Terry Bowser Excavating car number 56X. Doug Clark waves the green flag. We go back to racing action. Leonard Lee down on the low side of the speedway, a bid to take the 5th spot from Randy Martin, makes that pass as Tim Kading slides to the inside trying to grab 3rd from the 55 of Don Trout Jr. Unsuccessful in that attempt. Here comes Leonard Lee now trying to gain the transfer spot. He's got to get by the Right 1 Construction 35W of Tim Kading to make that happen. Kading goes to the cushion. Leonard Lee down low. Can't make the pass in 1 and 2. They race down the backstretch. Kading puts 2 car lengths on Leonard Lee's Eagle Raceway 16L. Lee and Kading both go to the low side in 3 and 4. Drift up, catch the cushion, exiting the corner. Larry Ball Jr. back out by 2 seconds in front of the field. This time down the front straightaway, white flag flying, half a mile to go in heat race number 2. Again, Leonard Lee looks to the low side but can't do anything with Tim Kading. Into the final turn for the final time, checkered flag in the air. Larry Ball Jr. picks up the second heat race win. Holding on for second will be John Cernett, Droud third, and Kading in the final transfer spot.
Fight his way into the C-main. Shawn Michael and John Lamberts bring them down through turns 3 and 4 as we get set to turn loose for 8 laps of heat race action. A pair of black cars in the front row, Michael on the inside, Lamberts on the outside. As Larry DeCrife waves the green flag, we bring him down into turn number 1. Brooke Tatnell goes right to the bottom, takes the second spot from Lamberts. Larry Pinniger also down the back straightaway, takes over the third position. Pinniger now tries for second. Pinniger looks to the bottom of Brooke Tatnell through turns 3 and 4. Down to lead lap 1, Shawn Michael, the 1C. Brooke Tatnell running in the second spot. Larry Pinniger third, and John Lamberts holding on to the fourth and final transfer. Meanwhile, the fifth position, Matt Morrow currently has it. Now Tim Munson looks to the inside as Tim Munson brings the black 1WM car. And up front, Shawn Michael off the pace into turn number 1. As a tough break for Shawn Michael. As he coasts around the bottom of the speedway. Keep your eye on that blue car now coming up from the back of the pack. Chad Kemenaugh on the move. Chad Kemenaugh using the low line around the speedway now up into the 5th spot, now making 4th as the yellow lights come on. Yellow on the speedway for Shawn Michael on the backstretch. And now Brooke Tatnell stands up in the seat, brings him down the front straightaway. Larry Pinniger on the move, looks to the inside of Tatnell. Pinniger tried to take the lead, couldn't get it done, falls back to second. Meanwhile, Chad Kemenaugh now from 12th to 4th. Chad Kemenaugh into a transfer spot as he now goes to the inside of John Lamberts. Kemenaugh now into the 3rd spot. Keep your eye on the 15K, Chad Kemenaugh. As Chad Kemenaugh, your current All-Star points leader. Chad last year finished just, I believe, right around 10 points behind Kenny Jacobs, finishing the runner-up position in the All-Star Point Championship last year. Now leading him as the season begins to wind down. He's running in the 3rd spot. Meanwhile, Peter Murphy put the slide job on Matt Morrow. That's the battle for 5th. Peter Murphy now has 5th. Matt Morrow back to 6th. Up front continues to be Brooke Tatnell leading this one. Larry Pinniger still holding 2nd. Chad Kemenaugh now using the low side around the speedway as he's now caught the 11L, and Larry Pinniger follows him down into turn 3. Kemenaugh on the bottom. Pinniger running the high side of the speedway. And now as the white flag comes out, Brooke Tatnell now slows down the front stretch. Tatnell now off the pace. We're going to see if he can hang on. Peter Murphy also off the pace. And through turns 3 and 4, down the front stretch to take the heat race win, the 11L of Larry Pinniger. Chad Kemenaugh comes home 2nd. Brooke Tatnell holds 3rd for a transfer spot. John Lamberts finishes 4th.
Chris Walraven will be setting the pace in the Cutting Edge Hair Salons. Car number 56, bringing him around turn 3 and 4. The white line, looking from your flagman. Green flag is out, here we go. Down the chute into the turn. Chris Walraven leading down the back straightaway. Tony Norum 2nd, your race now in the 3rd spot. Jared Hall to the inside, Linton Jeffrey for 3rd. Linton Jeffrey back in the 4th spot now as here comes Derek Beckman. Derek Beckman on the inside of Shane Hunter, 2x2 slide job. Squeaks by on the bottom. Oh, hang on, Beckman about loses it in turn 2. Down the back chute now, race fan, your battle still in the 5th spot. Derek Beckman, Shane Hunter still battling it out for 5th down the front straightaway, the advantage to Beckman. Meanwhile, your leader down the back straightaway is Chris Walraven. Tony Norum running in that 2nd spot. Now we've got a car slowing. It's Bruce Robinall. He slows down the front chute. Walraven, Norum, Hall, and Jeffrey, your top 4 cars sitting in transfer positions. Derek Beckman still 1 spot out of transfer. Then Shane Hunter, Dave Murcott, Johnny Anderson, Terry Pletch, and Chris Spitz. Now the nose wing is going flat on the car number 56 of your leader, Chris Walraven. Down the back straightaway, race fans, your leader, Walraven, with nose wing problems. Takes the 56 up on the high groove through turns 3 and 4, down the front straightaway, still showing the way. A commanding lead with Walraven, who guides his purple and yellow missile through turns 1 and 2. Tony Norum still running in that second spot. Jared Hall racing third. Linton Jeffrey in the fourth spot. The Vortex Racing, car number 4K. Your leader in traffic down the back straightaway, ducks to the bottom side, then slides right back to his line in the high side of turn 4. White flag will wave this time around. 1 lap to go for Knoxville's Chris Walraven. Back in the pack, Dave Murcott off the pedal, down the front chute. Checkered flag will wave as your leader works by the scoreboard. A lot of smoke off of Murcott. Checkered flag is out, your winner, Chris Walraven. Tony Norum running second, Jared Hall third, Linton Jeffrey fourth. Derek Beckman comes home in the fifth spot.
Wilson in row number 2, 96C Jim Cameron, and the 75 of Ty Bartz in row 3, 21T Tommy Tarleton, 18 Brian Carlson in row 4, 51 J. Ryan Jameson, 88 Steve King, and the 20D of Destiny Hayes. Green flag waves, heat race number 5, races down the front stretch toward 1 and 2. Steve King and Brian Carlson nearly getting together at the back of the pack as Michael Dupuis takes it 4 wheels over the cushion and grab the lead from PJ Chesson out of turn number 2. Chesson roars right back at him on the inside of the speedway. They're wheel to wheel and side by side. Dupuis hangs on to the lead down the front stretch. Chesson running in second, dives down to the bottom in 1 and 2. Can't make the move around the MIN Motorsports car number 4M. Bob Bennett holds third, and in the fourth and final transfer spot right now, it's Doug Wilson. Tommy Tarleton riding in fifth. Dupuis now stretching out the advantage, lead over PJ Chesson, 0.8 of a second as they complete lap number 2. Tarleton down on the inside now, battle for the final transfer spot, unable to get the pass made. Wilson hangs on to the transfer position for now. Wilson up on the cushion, Tarleton down low on the speedway. Best race on the track right now, the battle for the final transfer spot. Doug Wilson has it, Tarleton's trying to get it. Wilson runs the top, Tarleton on the bottom. Tarleton unable to make the low side of the speedway work, at least in 1 and 2. Dives down low again in 3 and 4. Wilson with momentum up on the cushion, hangs on to the spot. Halfway home, 4 laps down, 4 laps remaining in heat race number 5. It's still Michael Dupuis pacing the field with PJ Chesson running second, Bob Bennett third, Doug Wilson fourth, Tommy Tarleton fifth. And in the sixth spot, it's Ty Bartz. Steve King runs in seventh. Eighth is Ryan Jameson. Excuse me, eighth is Jim Cameron. Ninth is Ryan Jameson, followed by Brian Carlson and Destiny Hayes. Now Brian Carlson off the pace on the low side in turn number 4, headed back toward the pit area. Michael Dupuis with lap traffic. Destiny Hayes spins in turn number 2, and the caution flag will fly. Back to green. Dupuis goes low to block PJ Chesson. Bob Bennett trying to get a run on the high side of the speedway as Tarleton all over the back of Wilson. Here comes Steve King now making a 3-car dance for the final transfer spot down the backstretch into 3 and 4. King off the pace a little bit, entering the corner, got a little loose. White flag flies for Dupuis. Wilson still about 6-car lengths in front of Tarleton for the final transfer spot. Down the backstretch and into turns 3 and 4. Heat race number 5 in the books with Michael Dupuis as the winner. Chesson second, Bennett third, and Wilson in the final transfer spot.
As Gary Wright, the veteran driver from Texas, alongside Scott Fokin on the front row as we bring him down past the chalk stripe off turn 4. Gary Wright brings him down the front straightaway, the waving green flag. Right now powers to the high side of the speedway. Peter Murphy now into the second position. Scott Fokin now currently into the third spot. Meanwhile, look at Ryan Jameson moving up through the field, already now challenging for the third spot as they work through turn 3. Jameson up to the inside as Scott Fokin put Jameson to third. Scott Fokin now back to fourth. Ryan Jameson is going to need one more spot if he wants to get into the A main. Already got himself up into the 3rd spot. As Gary Rye, your current leader. Peter Murphy running 2nd. Ryan Jameson 3rd. Scott Fokin 4th. Brian Carlson currently rounding out your top 5. Meanwhile, Dr. Bob Altmaier looks to the inside of Doug Strong going down the back straightaway as they go side by side now down the back stretch. Altmaier looks to take over the 6th position. Gary Rye, still your leader up top as he brings the car down the back stretch now, stretching out a bit of a lead over the 0 car of Peter Murphy. Meanwhile, back for the 5th position, Altmaier and Doug Strong continue their battle for that spot. But right now, Gary Wright is your current leader. Peter Murphy, the Australian driver who spends his summers in California racing, is running in the 2nd spot while Ryan Jameson holds down 3rd. Scott Fokin 4th. As Bob Altmaier got up over the berm on the inside of the racetrack, gets the car straightened back out. Brian Carlson now closing in on Scott Fokin for the 4th position. Up front, your leaders now, a little bit of lap traffic as Gary Ride has put a lap on the 20D car of Destiny Hayes, as well as Peter Murphy. Murphy now still trying to close in on right down the backstretch with lap traffic ahead. Murphy closing the gap slightly as they work through turn 3. Gary Wright still leads him down the front stretch as they put laps on Bob Hildreth and Robert Bell. Doug Strong, the next car on the horizon, as your top 2 cars have completely distanced themselves from the rest of the field. Right now gets bottled up behind Strong down the backstretch. And Peter Murphy now also getting by Doug Strong. As Gary Ride and Peter Murphy, your top 2 cars, now at about a straightaway advantage on the 3rd place car, the 51J of Ryan Jameson. Off turn 4 comes down, he'll see the white flag as Gary Ride. Just one more lap to go. Peter Murphy running in the 2nd spot. And off turn 4 coming down to pick up the C main win. It'll be the 9 of Gary Ride. Peter Murphy takes the 2nd and final transfer spot.
On the restart for this 12-lap B main, again transferring the top 4 finishers into tonight's feature event.
And the field now tightly bunched in 2x2 rows as Leonard Lee and Jim Cameron bring them down towards the white line once again off turn 4. And now the field accelerates down the front stretch. 3 wide they come into turn number 1.
Randy Martin up on the top side of the speedway puts the Diamond Pet Foods car number 14M out in front of the field. And did you see the huge wheel stand that Derek Beckman pulled down the front straightaway? Beckman racing toward the middle of the pack as the battle for 2nd heats up. A car off the pace in turn number 3. Shane Hunter off the pace, gets tagged, and the car spins. Kurt Trainer gets a piece of him. I believe that was Steve King. Yes, Steve King and Kurt Trainer, the 2 cars stopped over there in turn number 4. The driver that was off the pace looks like the 8S of Shane Hunter. Leonard Lee and Jim Cameron wheel to wheel out of turn number 4. Green flag is flying again. Martin to the high side of Leonard Lee. Now cuts to the middle of the speedway trying to split Meinzer and Cameron. Cars sideways into turn number 1. A big pile up down there and the caution flag is waving again. Scott Neitzel involved. Manny Rockhold. Ryan Jameson. Derek Beckman. Once again, Leonard Lee and Jim Cameron race into turn number 4. We go green, racing into 1 and 2. Martin not quite as good a start this time as Lee leads it. Meinzer up to 2nd, Martin 3rd, and Jim Cameron taps the wall running 4th down the back straightaway.
Terry Pletch goes to the bottom. He's running in the 5th spot. Meanwhile, the battle for 2nd heating up as Randy Martin now gets by Bobby Meinzer down the front stretch. Martin takes the high side on Bobby Meinzer. Now it's Lee, Martin, Meinzer, Cameron down the back straightaway.
Terry Pletch holds on to the 5th spot, 1 position away from a transfer, and then it's the 11M of Troy Meyer running in 6th. Car off the pace into turns 3 and 4. It is the 50D of Derek Beckman. Beckman up in smoke in turn number 4, and the caution flag waves again. Looking for 10 more green flag racing laps as Leonard Lee paces the field into 3 and 4 and down toward the orange cone. Green flag in the air. B-main action back underway.
Off turn 2, down the back stretch, it's still Leonard Lee. Now Randy Martin second, Bobby Meinzer third, Jim Cameron still holding down the 4th and final transfer spot. Terry Pletch, though, takes a look to the inside.
Pletch gets a little loose entering turn number 3, gathers it back up, still holding on to the 5th spot. Gary Wright, the man on the move in the Goodson Farms Southwest Express car number 9, right up into the 10th spot, and now challenging Wayne Majeski, makes the move for 9th out of turn number 2 on the high side of the speedway.
Right now looks to the bottom of Jeff Johnson, takes the spot. Gary Wright, slide job, gets sideways. Gary Wright sideways in the middle of the racetrack. Now backs it up over the berm. Yellow flag on the speedway as Gary Wright tried the big slide job on the 11J of Jeff Johnson. As we bring him down the front straightaway, past the cone on the front stretch.
Green again in the B main. Meinzer looks to the low side of the speedway, but can't make up any ground on Randy Martin. Martin right on the back bumper of Leonard Lee's Eagle Raceway car number 16L. Now the big move for the lead. Slide job coming up, pulls it off short, can't make the pass. Lee continues to lead. Martin running second, Meinzer third, and Cameron fourth. Meyer runs 5th, Majeski 6th, and Ty Bart 7th. Bartz and Majeski racing side by side. Out of turn number 2, it's Majeski taking over the position down the back straightaway.
As Leonard Lee continues to hold off Randy Martin for the top spot, Bobby Meinzer third, Jim Cameron fourth, Troy Meyer. And just his second night of racing at the Knoxville Raceway, now just 1 spot out of a transfer spot as he's running in the 5th position. Meanwhile, Wayne Majeski using the high side of the speedway as he gets, Ty Bart's now getting by the orange car as 2 IRA orange cars, as now Ty Bart's on the high side, Wayne Majeski on the bottom. As Bart's now in the 6th position.
Bart's up to 6th, now going to challenge the 11M of Meyer for 5th. But the top 4 pulling away from the rest of the field. The drivers in transfer spots with a comfortable distance between themselves and the remaining competitors in this B main. As we have 8 laps down now, just 4 circuits remaining.
Some good racing back in the pack as Peter Murphy trying to get his way through the field as he now has moved up into the 9th spot as he now battles with Wayne Majeski for 8th. Peter Murphy trying to get into tonight's A main. As the battle continues for 5th spot, Troy Meyer on the bottom, Ty Bart's on the high side, and Jeff Johnson following both of them around the racetrack. Johnson now goes to the bottom as they battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th. Peter Murphy now gets the run. Murphy now looking for the 7th spot down the back straightaway. Peter Murphy to 7th.
And Gary Wright up to 9th in the Southwest car number 9. Wright and Murphy both working the cushion out of turn number 4, as does Ty Bartz in the 75 car. Some good racing back in the pack. The transfer car still pretty much separated from the rest of the field, although the race for the lead begins to heat up a little bit as Randy Martin has closed in again on Leonard Lee in the 16L. White flag flying, final trip in the B main this evening.
As your race to the lead continues down the backstretch, good racing for the 5th spot as well down the front straightaway. Back to the front now, off turn 4. Here they come down the front straightaway for the checkered flag. Randy Martin going to try on the bottom. It's going to be Randy Martin.
PJ Chesson in row 2. 51 Danny Smith, 1S Larry Ball Jr. in row 3, the 12L of John Lamberts, and the 47 of Tony Norum in row number 4, 4M Michael Dupuis, 3 Bob Bennett in row 5, 50 Jared Hall, 12 Colin Northway in row 6, 2K Kevin Fry, 35W Tim Kading in row 7, 66 Brooke Tatnall, 4K Linton Jeffrey in row 8, 33W Doug Wilson, 11L Larry Pinniger in row 9, 55 Don Trout Jr., 15K Chad Kemena in row 10, then Randy Martin, Leonard Lee, Bobby Meinzer, and Jim Cameron ready to go racing.
Craig Kinzer brings him to the white line in turn 4 to the green flag, and we are racing.
Into turn number 1, Kinzer on the high side of the speedway takes the lead. Chesson.
Brooke Tatnall, look out! Upside down, Doug Wilson. Doug Wilson getting over the wheel of Brooke Tatnall.
Side by side out of turn number 4, green flag waving on this one. Kinzer jumps out to the lead. Battle for second now between Cernette, Walraven, and Chesson. Chesson cuts it down the middle of the speedway. Look at Larry Ball up on the top shelf, now up to 3rd.
Race 3 wide down into turn number 3. Chesson to the bottom side now. Larry Ball Jr. slides high in turn 4. John second spot, looks to the inside. Two-way battle for the number 2 position.
Cernette with a slide job, can't pull it off. Ball holds on to the second spot, opens up the door for Chesson. Chesson to the inside of Cernette, takes over third, and Danny Smith up to fourth in the Web Racing 51.
Danny Smith on the move, as is Walraven over in turn 4. John Cernette goes to the high side, down the front straightaway. Danny Smith up into the 4th spot. Cernette 5th. Then it's 2x2 for 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Tim Kading sideways entering turn number 1, gathers it back up. Holds onto a spot now. He's challenged by Don Trout Jr. They're racing back in the pack as Craig Kinzer continues to hold off Larry Ball Jr. with PJ Chesson running 3rd, Danny Smith 4th, John Cernette in 5th.
Tony Norum running in the 6th spot with Chris Walraven battling it out in turn 2. Walraven can't make the move down the back chute. Now Michael Dupuy moves around. John Lambert's going into turn 3.
Dupuy now taking over that 8th spot. Remember, the top 10 finishers locked into tomorrow night's C-Main, starting positions 11 through 20 in that race. PJ Chesson gaining a little bit of ground on Larry Ball Jr. as they race on the high side in 3 and 4.
Well, John Lambert's currently riding in the 10th spot as your field bunches up in turn 3, the battle for the final 10th position.
Don Trout Jr. on the move in the 55 car, goes to the outside, makes the pass of Michael Dupuy to take over 8th, sets his sights on Walraven, now battle for 7th. And Tony Norum getting by John Cernette into turn number 3. Cernette tries to drive it back underneath him onto turn number 4. Can't make it happen. Tony Norum up into the top 5.
Well, Craig Kinzer is still leading down the back straightaway, but Larry Ball Jr. is closing in on the car number 11K in turn 3 and 4. Now PJ Chesson also looks to the bottom side off turn 4, racing Larry Ball Jr. down the front chute.
Chesson down low, Larry Ball up on the high side of the speedway. Top 3 racing for position and about to enter lap traffic as they roll down the back straightaway. The lead for Craig Kinzer just about a half a second as they race into 3 and 4. Top 2 on the high side, Chesson down low. Ball jumps the cushion, gets sideways, opens up the door, and Chesson takes over the runner-up spot.
PJ Chesson now sets his sight on your race leader, Craig Kinzer. Kinzer to the high side in turn 2, Chesson right behind him down the back straightaway. PJ Chesson looks to the bottom side of your race leader now, racing for the lead in turn 4.
Kinzer and Chesson nose to tail down the front stretch into traffic. Bennett down low will block PJ Chesson's lane while Leonard Lee blocking Kinzer on the high side. Chesson lost a lot of momentum. Here comes Larry Ball Jr. It's a 3-car battle for the lead down into 3 and 4.
Side by side, your race is for the lead in turn number 4.
Chesson with the move off the low side of the speedway takes the top spot as we complete lap number 8 to lap number 10. We're halfway home.
Craig Kinzer still charging back but cannot make the move down the back straightaway. PJ Chesson puts a lap car between he and Craig Kinzer. Kinzer goes to the high side. Your leader stays on the bottom in turn 4. Now Larry Ball Jr. on the move, works the middle groove in the racetrack.
Look at the battle for the 4th spot, heating up out of turn number 4. Danny Smith trying to hold off Don Trout Jr. Trout to the inside of the speedway now, slides up, takes the spot away from Danny Smith. Nice clean pass in turn number 2.
Well, Larry Ball Jr. got way over the cushion in turn 2, drops back about 15 car lengths from Craig Kinzer as they race through turns 3 and 4. Your leader, PJ Chesson, enters into turn 1. Kinzer by the flag stand. Now Don Trout Jr. closing in.
Trout is up to 4th. Tony Norum holds 5th, Danny Smith in 6th, Michael Dupuy in 7th with 8 laps remaining in this one.
PJ Chesson, Craig Kinzer, Larry Ball Jr. now pulling up behind him, bumper to bumper down into turn 1. Look at Don Trout Jr. put his hat in the mix. Tony Norum on the high side of Don Trout in turn 2.
Larry Ball takes the runner-up spot from Craig Kinzer. Now Tony Norum about to challenge Kinzer. The big slide job into 3 and 4. Kinzer holds the low line, Norum up to the cushion out of turn number 4. Norum and Kinzer nearly get together on the front stretch, but Norum holds on to the spot.
Your leader in heavy traffic going into turns 3 and 4. Don Trout Jr. sets up Craig Kinzer, looks to